issue of the original miniseries, or you read all four?
I've read the miniseries. I figured that's what we're talking about, the entire
Oh yeah,
miniseries.
yeah, yeah. We. Oh yeah, no, we are. We are. It's
Also,
still bad.
I pulled up everybody's favorite website, Read Comics Online, so we have a little visual. Hello to MARANYA. Fun fact: ForceWorks was rebranding a West Coast Avengers idea back in the day. Yeah, we are always on England Team State. Actually, not today. England team was all set and ready to go today. We were actually waiting a little bit for Dom. I was like, oh my gosh, did he remember? Did he forget? I sent out a little message actually to Dalton as well. I told him, if Dom doesn't come in, do you mind coming in and talking about a book I know you know nothing about? You know, he's the mystic guy. He sticks to that. But okay, I'm glad you're here, Dom.
Yeah, no, happy to be here, and yeah, just I'm glad to talking about this series with you before it became ForceWorks.
Yeah. The first four issues we're going to be talking about. This is the first appearance of Avengers West Coast. Like I said, for visual aid, when we get into it, I'll pull up the Read Comics Online so we can see it. Just before we get into it, big time, a quick overview of what you thought about the book.
Oh, what can I say? You know, like after rereading this again, like after some time, it still holds up. Well, it definitely like helps like set the ground of like what this team is all about, and also what makes them distinct like from their main East Coast branch.
Mm-hmm.
And also you get some like really nice like character work from like each of the individual members.
That was what really hit me, tell you the truth. I was on book. Okay, so you read the first one, and the first one here, this is the cover to the first issue. This could be summed up in two words: Avengers Assemble. That's it. This book was all about showing you who's going to be in the team, and every character has a couple of pages so you can understand who they are, what they could do, and what their motivations are going to be going forward. We're going to get a little bit more into that as we move on here, as I scroll through the pages here. I looked at some reviews as well. I was like, okay, because I sometimes pull thumbnail titles or video titles from reviews, because it'll be like, fantastic, wonderful, this book is awesome. You know, what is a comic book? A comic book is something that actually we should be inviting Eric into this thing as well. I didn't know that they're probably going to be doing their thing, or I would have invited Eric. You are, do you mind? Or is it just you want to keep it the two of us?
Oh no, I don't mind.
I think they do their show at 9, but so I'll send the invite. The character work was one thing that everybody mentioned in their review of this book. It's just it's next level. One of the things I was shockingly impressed by, because I haven't read this. I realized I haven't read this in decades. You know, when it comes right down to it, I haven't. You know, I could tell you about, I read it back in the day and it was fantastic. It was wonderful. But I just realized I haven't read this miniseries in decades, literally. So going back into this, this is exactly what we're talking about when we say the 80s were better. This is exactly what we're talking about when we criticize modern day comics for what they're missing. Part of it is that kind of characterization. It took time. It took time to let you get to know. Say again?
Yeah. No, adding on to your point, it's not just the characterization, but also the short, sweet, clean storytelling, like from like the old guard. All right, because this was time before anyone like adopted the writing for the trades or long form storytelling method of Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah, the writing for the trades. Every book in this miniseries does what writing for the trades does. How it's it starts off with a character moment. It has a little bit of action, and then it leaves on a cliffhanger. If it's coming back from a cliffhanger, it just, well, hold on. I tried to edit the book part into Bach into book, but it didn't work. Okay. It has, if you have a cliffhanger that it's coming back from, like in issue 3, where everybody's thrown into the water, Wonder Man's being drowned, book 4 picks up right after and gives you a how we got here. You know, we were talking about this before, me and Eric, where one of the things I miss is the fact that they show you a little bit of what happened. They take a few panels, or in this case, a page, to say, this is what happened in the last issue. That's why they're in the water, go. You know, and it's kind of something they don't actually do anymore. So here it's like a breath of fresh air. All righty. Dominic went silent here, so I'm assuming something's going on his end. But I'm gonna start this off here, and I'm gonna take us to book 1. Like I said, I've got it open here. One thing I love right in front here. It starts off with Hawkeye, you know, doing the Avengers symbol. He's on top of the roof. We find out, or he's in front of the thing there, and it's him and Bobby. And this is a guy who was excited to be leading a team. He is, as we all know, possibly the least Avenger, right? And I think by the dialogue, I don't know if the writers meant this, but by the dialogue, he knows it. And he knows that, hey, you know what? Captain America doesn't have the power of Thor, but he leads, and now I can. And he's very excited. This is a person who's excited about carrying a team, about leading a team. And this conversation between the two of them, once again, very informative to somebody who hasn't read the book. You get to know that they got married recently, that he's been an Avenger for quite a while, that she's like, I don't know if I'm ready. He says why she's ready. And that's one of those things where it sounds like they're having a conversation, but it's actually information to the reader, which is something we don't do. I mean, imagine, do you ever really see a modern book with this much word balloon? It's done very well. Hawkeye has matured over so much over time. By this point, he went from Clash with Captain America over being led by being the Captain America of his team, which he actually mentions a couple of times in later issues. There's one where in the second issue, he has to deal with Wonder Man, who's a little disappointed that the bad guy got away, the blank it is. But yeah, so we get the obligatory Avengers appearance. At this point in time, Vision was leading the team, and he's like, I trust in you to add a team. Here's a few names for you to give a call. And that's when it goes into it. And we see Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, talking to Tigra, and she's wondering what the hell she's going to do. And she gets a phone call. And it's she doesn't mention it. Like, she goes, who's the call from? I don't have time to tell you. Yeah. The Avengers got to go. Bye. That would have been easy. They even mentioned that at the end of I think it's the beginning of 4th issue. How this could have been. Oh no, it is it's at the end of this one. All of this could have been settled if I had just told Jessica who called me. Because at this point she's worried about Tiger, so she gives. It ends up being the Shroud a call. Excuse me. But there you go. We get an introduction to Tiger, and then it comes to here. We get an action scene of a spy taking out a couple of people chasing him. And we find out it's a movie set, and the guy who got a grenade to the chest was actually Wonder Man. And this is how he's been spending his time, acting as a stuntman. And one thing I like about this, we all know that Wonder Man was a villain for the Avengers, joins the Avengers, died for the Avengers, came back, and supposedly came back much more powerful. And you see all this. Look how he's hiding his face in this panel where you see him throwing buckets of water on him, hiding his face here as well, making sure you don't see his eyes, because the eyes actually become a bit of a reveal later. We all know at this point, of course, that he's a being of pure energy. At this point, he's trying to hide it. And we see he gets a call from the Avengers. And so he dons his greatest superhero outfit. Not that green and red little thing. This is the greatest Wonder Man outfit right here, by the way. Spun off from it. This is the miniseries, by the way. I think actually this miniseries sprung from the Hawkeye miniseries, which I can actually bring. I've got the Hawkeye miniseries and trade paperback on my shelf here. So, okay, Wonder Man gets the call, and then we, wait, what are we talking about? Oh, stop it. Stop talking about the miniseries, or stop telling the truth that this is the greatest of all Wonder Man outfits. You're not here to defend that. So there you go. To be fair, the original green and red would look better, a lot better without the mask. Maybe so, but it does have a mask. This is the far superior costume. So yeah, it's once again, I mentioned how each character has a motivation scene. While we're looking at this, you get Iron Man, and he's called to the Avengers as well, meets up with Tiger, and it's like, whoa, I love this line right here. And here I thought the Wasp had the smallest costume. So there you go. One thing I like about some artists is they'll actually draw her looking like she's got fur all over. So this is the trunk stream. Come on in, Eric. Talk a little bit about West Coast Avengers. One thing I love about Tiger is when they draw her like this, they basically draw her with orange striped skin. Sometimes you'll get somebody who draws her like a cat, like she's got fur all over her body, because some people actually mention it, like right here. Hey, is she furry? Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of hair or something. But when I'm speaking of motivations, this is actually James Rhodes in the costume, and a lot of his inner dialogue has to do with being his own Iron Man, being not trying to be Tony Stark or keeping the Iron Suit himself. Not as in I'm a villain and I'm gay. It's not a Lucius Fox thing, stealing Batman's money, but it's like I said, you get everybody's motivation. Hawkeye is almost desperate to be a good leader. Bobby, who is a hero in her own right, wants to support her husband. Gosh darn, that's a thing that wouldn't happen this decade. Tigra wants to prove herself because she felt unworthy the first time she was around. And Iron Man wants to set up his own name, make it so he's Iron Man, but he's James Rhodes. A couple of times he even mentions that he wants to tell people, but he feels a little bit weird to show off that he's not actually the real Iron Man or Tony Stark. This is not Stark's Iron Man. Well, there you go. That's what I was saying about this miniseries being a spinoff of Hawkeye's miniseries, which, by the way, we did already talk about, but we did it a couple of years ago. We used to do these Thursday night shows all the time, and the Hawkeye miniseries was one of the ones we talked to. Now, Dominic is supposed to be a part of this, but something happened and he dropped out. So, okay. I hope he's okay, and hope he can come back soon. Let's see. Are you jumping back in? Send a little message to him. All righty, where did we leave off? Okay, let me move on a little bit here. Let's see. From now on, the Avengers, yeah, and they basically explain what happens with the, because they just figure you need somebody on each coast. I also like the Meow Tiger can join my team. Well, remember, she's hairy. Like I said, they draw her with orange and striped skin and a bikini, but she's supposed to be furry. Sometimes you'll get an artist who does that, but sometimes it's this. It's a girl in a bikini with orange skin. Like right here, you see this facial shot. It should look like she's got a mustache because she's got, or maybe whiskers or something, because she's furry. All righty. So the action starts as they get a teen trouble alert, and they realize somebody's broken into the mansion here, the compound, as Hawkeye calls it. And if you know Marvel Comics, you know who this is just by this image here on the bottom. And so they all go out looking for him because he's basically making a joke of the security system. And we thought right away, there's this black smoke going on. You get a little glimpse of his leg, and we see it's the Shroud. And what I think is kind of cool is that once it's discovered he's the Shroud, everybody's like, oh, whoa, hold on. Like Wonder Man just pummels him. He's able to, he's not, and one thing I also like is they don't make the Shroud overpowered. This isn't a case of he's going to be the bad guy now and he could take out the Avengers. He doesn't. He doesn't take out any of them. He grabs onto Bobby here. That's about the most he does, because otherwise he's playing escape, you know, and the Avengers give him a hard time. Tigra recognizes the black smoke and actually says, Shroud, where are you? Because she knows who it is and everything. And he's basically playing getaway until Wonder Man puts him on his ass. He's about to knock him out, but Tigra says, no, hold on, he's a friend. And that's when she apologizes because a phone call. Well, I'm the one who started this, she says. If I had taken time to tell Jessica who called, but Jessica called the Shroud. And that's what ends up they say, hey, that, you know, your powers are kind of cool. Why don't you join the team? But they say no. And boom, there you go. That's the end of the first issue. All righty. Up here he is. Hey.
Technical issues are never fun.
No, they're not. I walked us through the first issue, and I was just explaining what was good, what was bad. If you have any notes you want to talk about.
Well, I guess like what I can add for issue 1, since you cover most of everything, is what, even though like this is a mini series, you know, like it was able to still tell a complete story, right? Because for like we were treated here like with the introduction of the soon-to-be founding members of the West Coast Avengers, and the Shroud Light was not portrayed as an overpowered character, because yes, he is like the master of manipulating shadows, you know, but that does not mean like it doesn't mean he's too powerful to beat, because you know, like what I do appreciate about the first issue of West Coast Avengers is it mentions, you know, like his adventures like from his own miniseries, like the night shifts, which has a funny premise, rather than the fact that he formed the night shift to essentially not only like stop these other criminal organizations that beat the bad guys, but the people that were part of the night shift, like they thought they were just gaining territory, so they were essentially being tricked into being heroes, and they weren't aware of it.
Okie dokies. Oh, excuse me. Oof. Sorry. We just, before we came on, we had dinner. It's coming back on me. All righty. Hold on. I want to put up. Oh, nope. That's an overlay. Where is the backgrounds? All right. And then we're going to move to the second issue. Go ahead.
I would say like another aspect of like the first issue that I appreciate that ongoings and miniseries like have forgotten, not only by most of today's quote unquote creators, is the continuity, and the miniseries like utilizes the continuity like of the Marvel universe at the time at its fullest.
All right. Okay. I think there we go. All right, let's see what we got coming in. Oh, Eric, I mentioned how I like this version of Wonder Man. Me and Eric are always arguing that he likes the green and red outfit. I like the Hollywood Wonder Man with the jacket and the black pants, so forth, so on. Where do you stand on this? Which one is the better one for you? The ugly green or the really cool red jacket? Not that I'm being biased or anything.
Well, I do like Simon's like original. Well, his original outfit, like when he made his debut, like in the early issues of the Avengers. There's like where he was like sit there as an undercover agent before turning on the Masters of Evil, because like because he still had a conscience, like even when he was undercover. Yeah, however, him with the red jacket and everything when he during his like Hollywood days is one of the definitive outfits for Simon.
Yeah, I call it better.
Well, hey, I didn't say it wasn't better. It's just a natural evolution.
All right, hold on, just say I'm trying to shrink this thing. What did I do? What did I do? All righty. Is this it? Yes. Okay. I'm trying to share this out. There we go. And I'm going to pop up issue number 2, which I actually like the later sleeveless black look, says MARANYA, with the red W on the chest, red boots and jet belt, or the later red and green look with the stuff on the back, as I recall, says MARANYA. Alrighty, and here we go. Let's talk about this one, because I was surprised at this one. The blank is not an Avengers villain. It's so oddball. Okay, so we start off, and this is one more thing I like. They are not a team right away. So this book starts off with them training. It's basically everybody who's not Iron Man versus Iron Man. Because let's face it, there's a little bit of a power imbalance here.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger is strong and fast for sure, but these two are acrobats with weapons, basically.
Yep.
So we do get this. We do get this starting training, and I really appreciate this because a lot of times you have comic books, and this is in the 80s and 70s as well. But what they would do is they would be like, oh, hey, I've got power. Now I'm going to go out. I think Dazzler was fighting Galactus in her 12th issue, you know?
Yes.
It's like, take some time here and, let's get to know the characters a little bit. There is a power imbalance, but skill and sneakiness will win out over the still inexperienced Rhodey.
She's not wrong.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, that is what happens. Of course, they work together and they bring down Iron Man. Then you even get the line there, ladies. You see, it's just like Captain America always told me: with the proper teamwork, even the strongest opponent can be beaten. And Iron Man says, "Yeah, but never count your enemy out until you're sure he's really out." And he kind of shows that I'm more powerful than you guys. I mean, that's a flex.
Mm-hmm.
This is a flex. This is Iron Man showing off. Case closed. But once again, I like this because this is something that we don't get a lot anymore either.
No, we don't.
While they are going through their training, you get thoughts, you get motivation, you get who they are. This is storytelling through action. And you don't get a lot of that nowadays. I mean, I remember there was a Champions issue where they're drinking coffee and they were talking, and then it's like, oh my gosh, the Teen Trouble alert. And then they jump to it and they go one punch a Sentinel and they come back. There's no storytelling in the modern day action.
No.
What we're seeing here would take an entire issue. It would be training day, and then there would be the entire issue rather than just a couple of pages. All right. Well, I am talking a lot, by the way. If you have anything to say, let me know, because you know me, I talk a lot. All right. Let's see. Where am I go? Where do I go from here? Here we are. And number 2, what do we got? MARANYA is not a spoiler, but an assessment of what you said. Maybe MARANYA should come in. Oh, by the way, before we move forward, this is something that I'm hoping we do every week. And I would not mind switching on and off, like you pick one, I pick one, or
sure.
If there's one particularly that we're excited about. I think, and we could give you guys homework. You know, it's like, hey, read this, and you guys could talk about it with us. My choice for next week, I talked to you about this before. It's actually something I owe Frag Minion. Wild Dog from the 1980s.
Sure.
I would love to talk about that. I've been clipping all the panels so I could go panel to panel and everything. And this is a fun book. So
It
anyway,
really is.
let's see. So once again, they go through their training, and like you get, like I keep saying, you get these touches that they used to do. They joke about how it's so easily. Wish I could. They joke about it so easily. Wish I could. I'll bet Iron Man could have blown us away whenever he felt like it. He was probably just toying with us during the whole workout. I'm not anywhere near being in his league. Why did I let Hawkeye talk me into the joke? What? And this is her thing. Like I said, she felt inadequate in the original Avengers, and so they're bringing that over. But one thing that that I would say she has to get over it really quickly is she's next to Hawkeye and Mockingbird, who she is more powerful than. So if they have confidence, she should, but she might even see it as, even though I'm strong and I'm fast, I don't have the skill of Hawkeye or Mockingbird.
Yeah, that was also like a measure of like Rhea. Like she is a street hero, but she also like gets herself caught like in supernatural occurrences as well, because her powers comes from cat people, and the amulet allows her to switch from her human form to her cat human form,
which we also get. Okay, so we cut to Wonder Man, and he's just talking with a friend about how, okay, I tried the stuntman thing. I'm going to the West Coast Avengers, and he is wearing short booty shorts. Welcome to the 80s, kids.
yeah, cut off shorts.
Yeah,
they were a thing back then.
Yeah, and they didn't have to, like, I know I wore shorts like that in the 70s, but now I can't. If they don't go to right above the knee, yeah, I ain't wearing that shit. So
yeah.
I'll
tell you what, I want to add before, like with that moment with Tigra, even though like she has like experience in hero work, where like before and after like she became a Catwoman, like she will eventually overcome like her inadequacy, that she's not at the same level like as like the original Iron Man and the other members of the Avengers. And you will see though, like as the story progresses.
Alrighty. So we get the two talking, and they decide to go have drinks, and while they're out, somebody decides to rob a bank, and he's like, okie dokie's got to go stop them, and we meet the Blank. And basically, he has a force field that blocks light and bullets and everything.
Also obscures his appearance.
Yeah, which comes in handy. So Wonder Man's like, here I come to save the day. The Blank tries to shoot him, and he's like, well, this sucks. He gets punched through. Now, I got a little beef with this. And it's not just the Wonder Man thing. It's, hold on. It's, this kind of thing is in a lot of comics, where they throw a guy or something across a room or something along those lines. Here we go. That's what I was trying to do. Oh, did I just blink it out? There we go. Okay. And he ends up knocking him into the bank again. And I always wonder, how do you know there's not a person between you? I mean, he basically is sending a human cannonball through walls and doors. It looks cool, but as my 55-year-old self goes, I'm like, yeah, what about the people? What about the people? The Blank, the villain every artist can draw, says Glinter. Hey, I wore a purple velvet hot pants when I was in my early teens in the mid-70s, but even I didn't wear booty shorts. I did. I was a teen. I was about 12, 13 and had the booty shorts. It was, we were you had to change for gym, and that's what I had. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not wearing this shit anymore. Let's see. My mother, we were poor. We got a lot from the secondhand shop, and she did her best. She did very well to try to keep us away from feeling poor. Okay, so Wonder Man comes in. All right, do you want to give me the gun, or shall I we waltz around some more? And he's like, you can't stop the Blank. And Wonder Man picks him up and says, the Blank, is that what you're calling yourself? And he says, let him down, not until you drop the gun. He knocks the sunglasses off of his face, and we see this. Now, this is the first time his eyes have been revealed, at least in this book. I don't know if it was the first time ever that we see Wonder Man without his sunglasses.
Well, yeah, he actually only obscured his eyes like for a time because, like, oh well, yeah, well, first like to maintain his identity, but also so people like will realize that yeah, he is a being of pure ionic energy, and like the eyes are a dead giveaway.
Yeah. Let's see. His tinted glasses knocked aside the rolling energy matrix that once were Simon Williams' eyes were revealed for everyone in the bank. And we see the people that he's saving. Oh my God, he's not human. Who fucking cares? He's saving your life. Just let it go. All right. The blank makes a run for it. And by the time Simon gets to the window, he's gone. And we see that he turned his tech off and he's walking away with the money. All right. And sitting in his house, you know, woohoo, here's the thing also. If you're going to be a thief and you steal $75,000, that's an annual salary. Sit back, relax, take a year, especially if you got away with it. Okay. This guy, you know, I got to get right back on that horse. No. Chill.
With criminals like blank, he is, I think, of the short term instead of the long term. What I do also appreciate that is sorely missing in comics, be it like an ongoing or a mini, is these couple of pages and panels of showcasing a hero, criminal, or a villain's origin. Like how did he or she become the way they are?
Yeah,
because with the blank, like he tried to like save the scientist before like he got ran over. He stole his tech, and decided to use it to become a thief.
Yeah, and we get his origin story. Who knows? The blank may be popular, and you need him again in another story. Didn't happen, but it could. All right, yeah. But we do get his origin and how he got a belt, and as he's doing that, we see some energy creature going, "No, come back! I need more power,
more energy.
Yeah,
more power."
Let's see, Maran saying, "Hey, some people have a natural fear of superhero beings. Don't knock people for acting realistic." I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think there should be some people who have a natural fear of even Captain America and everything. If you see somebody jump, or as far as he did, like when he jumped over that fence in the movie, or you see some of the things they do, being near them could cause a little bit of nervousness, anxiety. One of the first things I thought about, go ahead.
Well, adding on to your point, like the same thing applies to mutants. It's like regardless of if they're an X-Men or the Brotherhood, the Mutant Liberation Front, or whatever. But I mean, one of these days when we do cover the original X-Men run with Lee and Kirby, we're like, it's rather like important to showcase that back then, like not everyone like fear and hated mutants, including the X-Men.
All right. One thing to put to a point to what she was saying, in real life, I'm at The Rock. We had a new attraction. I was working the attraction. It starred The Rock. It was at Universal Studios, called Disaster Studios was what it was called. And at the end, we put audience members in a movie with The Rock, acting with them in the whole 9 yards. When we did everything, he came and we did our stage show. He came up and he was like, "That was great, guys. Thanks." And he shook everybody's hand. And as he was shaking mine, and my adult male hand disappeared in his, the first thing I thought of was, I'm alive because he hasn't killed me. It's like if he decided I should be dead at that moment, there is very little I could do to stop his decision. So yeah, I could see that. I could see that kind of fear.
Me too.
Of supervillains, or superhero, even the heroes, because that would happen. All right, so we come to the scene where go ahead.
It's that type of instance you don't see as much like in today's comics, be it in Marvel or DC.
Yeah. Well, look at this. Look at this page. Do you see this page in modern comics? And yes, we're going to be doing a lot of modern back issues are better. But do you ever see, look at how much dialogue is on this page.
It's succinct and it's not crowded.
No. And everybody has a voice. Not everybody sounds
distinctive
like
voice.
Vita Ayala, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't sound the same. And it's not just Vita, you know, like who does this like with her works, but also Bendis.
Yeah, you're right about that. Okay, so basically Wonder Man's angry and pissy because the blank got away, and God darn it, we got to get right out there and get him. I don't know why I gave him a Southern accent, but that's basically what's going on. And Bobby is like, or Mockingbird's like, okay, you know, you had your first have to deal with a rambunctious leader. What did you think? And he says, I feel old, because he remembers that that's how he was when Captain America was the leader when he first signed on. Characters revealed through actions, thoughts, and dialogue in this era. I know, right? Mm-hmm. So they decide we're going
to be fair, this did continue on in the 90s.
Yep. And then we lost it. If they race swap the blank, he'll rarely use his tech. Alrighty. So I get it. All right, so they decide they're going to split up and go all over California trying to find them. I like the art here where you have Tigra in Chinatown. That is a really good panel right there. And yes, by all means. Also, if in the chat, if you guys see something you want to talk about, feel free. You know this channel. You know I've always included the chat in on it. If you have something that, oh, wait, go back to this panel. I want to talk about something specific. Go right on ahead. And yeah, even if that includes, we're just looking at a panel and it's like, holy crap, that is really good art for that. It reminds me of oh, go ahead.
And dynamic.
Yes. There's a line in a movie called Chasing Amy where they're working on a comic book, and Jason Lee's character goes, "This is the best rat I've ever seen you draw." You know, just okay. I like that kind of thing. All right, so we see the blank is back at it, and I agree. Jackson was saying, "Hey, he's high on the success. He's got to do it again, right?" I mean, the man's sitting on $75,000 right now. That's an annual salary. I'm sure he could pay a year's worth of his rent, make sure that everything's okay, and still have money to live, you know? But nope, got to go after the Wells Fargo truck one more time. So he blanks it up and he chases after him. They see him coming, and he actually gets a shot off on one of them so they can't shut the door, and that allows him to jump into the back, and the chase ensues. We get a police report, or at least Mockingbird gets a police report. Hey, somebody attacked this truck. So she knows to go chasing after him. And when she catches up to him, he's like, well, I guess everybody does want to be a hero. And he's cornered by all of the Avengers. And that should put a spot on. I like the fact he was like, oh, like when doesn't know who the blonde lady is. And he's like, I don't know who the Arrow guy is. I don't believe this. Yeah, all that from an Arrow because it blew up. But when he sees Iron Man, his response, oh, no. I like that. It just shows that reputations are real. Mm-hmm. Good scene on this one. Let's see. Well, Simon with Resurrect. Oh, go on ahead.
I'm just saying, I agree.
Jackson's agreeing that Simon may actually have at least some sort of Southern drawl because he was resurrected in a Louisiana swamp. So there you go.
Might have been seeing Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Wait, would that mean Swamp Thing has a Southern drawl or a Louisiana Bayou accent? Or does he talk like
I don't know. That's Man-Thing.
There you go. Yeah. All righty. So in order for the blank to get away, he jumps into the gas tank, and the gas lights on fire. And this sends the Avengers rolling, and they're trying to stop it and save people. And I love the show of strength here. Once again, you talk about good panels. This Iron Man panel right here, where he's lifting the dump truck, I just like it. The colors are popping. it is, to me, it's really good line work when you could tell you could see the glove against a red background. There you go. All right. Once again, I know I'm Dominic. I know I'm talking a lot, but if you want to take it away sometime, just give the heads up.
I'll try. Well, I try to.
Just interrupt me, man, because otherwise I'm just going to keep it going. I don't mean to overtalk. I just don't like the blank spaces, so I always feel
No. I completely understand. I know someone like who does this similar to you. But of course, like
overbearing.
No, I make sure like to interrupt him like when it's necessary, so he doesn't overtalk himself.
Right. Let's see.
What's like adding on like to your, adding on like to what you said, so like about the line work. Like, can we also like appreciate, like the dynamic movement like that is given like from the line work as well as from the characters themselves, including like their individual actions. And once they do these actions, like the backgrounds start then become minimal as we are focused onto the characters.
Yeah, I think we're praising this book a lot. Okay, I got to admit something. One thing I hate about modern comic books is the fact that they blank face. You know, if the character is too far away, they blank face them. At the very least, at this panel right here, where Wonder Man and Tiger are flying in, at the very least, they tried. They gave them something at the, even it's right here with the,
just to indicate,
they're like even smaller,
that they have faces.
Yeah. It's just, these are the things I noticed when I was reading. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, this little guy has a face here. All right, so we get home with the blank, and he's like, that's it. I'm out. I'm not fighting the Avengers. I'm going to go, but before I do, I'm going to recharge. And as he does this, we see the energy take form, and it is Graviton, who, by the way, is one of my favorite Avengers villains. Yes, oh, yeah, Bobby has faces, Jackson.
Yeah, no, he's one of my favorite members of the Avengers, Rogues Gallery as well. And another added benefit is he's not limited to just the Avengers, but he also faced off like other heroes as well.
Yeah, I've always reading this. I something I didn't notice was he is. I think he is truly one of the most powerful people in the Marvel universe. He doesn't know how to use his powers.
Well, I mean, considering like your ability is to control and manipulate like one of the most powerful forces in the universe, in this case, gravity. Right, it's a very versatile ability because you can do so much with gravity manipulation.
And yet he gets his ass handed to him. So it's one of those things. If he was more familiar with his power and everything, if he knew how to actually, what can gravity do other than I'll make you light, I'll make you heavy. If he can do both at the same time, he can have people spinning and all sorts of weird things. If he can manipulate the gravitational field around one person. I mean, forget about the fact that if you can do two sides or so, you could just, okay, that guy's dead. Yeah, but that's one of those things. When I was reading this book, especially the next couple of issues, pay attention. I don't think Graviton knows how to use his powers.
Yeah, even after he made his appearances, like he has not yet to really gain a master level of gravity manipulation. Because as seen over here in this miniseries, like he has a very limited understanding of his capabilities.
This would also, by the way, this would show that maybe it's not Graviton, it's the writers that don't understand how like if you're gonna write Graviton,
that would be another issue, which has occurred like even back then.
If you're gonna write Graviton, do yourself a favor and look up Gravity. You know, go through a little bit, learn about it, study it. You know, make sure that you can write it well. I mean, if hold on, what did I just do? Okay, I just did the redirect here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's like if you're going to write the Flash, wouldn't you want to read up on speed, velocity, what happens to things and people?
And
yeah, what might
like,
actually happen if you did this and
the
that?
speed of light.
Yeah. Let's see. Jackson will definitely like Bobby's later costume. Yep. Say again?
And vibrations as well, because it is related to motion.
Yeah. So if you're gonna write Graviton, if I got a great Graviton story, and okay, well, what can he do with his power? You know, what you would have to try to find that out. I think that would make for a very different kind of story. Glenzer say Graviton and Count Nefaria look like brothers. It'd be interesting if they teamed up. It'd be interesting to find out that they were brothers. All right. So let's see. We learned that Graviton is in the last issue that he is out, but it starts off with them reminding everybody that in Thor, the frost giants attack and now Earth is covered in snow. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was 40 years ago.
I remember reading it.
Yeah, you weren't around to actually read it.
No.
Us old farts were.
I read it years after it came out.
All righty, let's see. So yeah, they're doing all the snow thing. Of course, you got to get the bikini girl in there, and let's get to the story. They stop some looters, and a couple of them just give up because if I'm gonna fight the Avengers. I like the fact that you've got Tigra here. She's in a bikini and leggings. It's like, okay, now we know what part of her gets coldest the most. That's how you start a comic book, page 1. Show the heroes using their power. Well, one of the greatest things, everybody, brings up the whole thing about Stan Lee and how he said, Marvel writes about the world outside your window. One thing he really said was, you have to remember that every comic book is somebody's first comic.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to give them certain amounts of information. All right, here we know he can fly. This guy's obviously super strong. And this is just visual. And one thing also, if you guys have been watching, you don't need the dialogue to see what's going on and to tell what the story is. That's good art.
I agree.
You don't have to
also
read
good
it.
writing as well.
Yeah. And this is you got to think this is the Marvel method. So they had an outline and they gave it to the artist. Go. And this is what the artist came up with for the writer to write in. Let's see, Tiger in a bikini and leggings and boots, fan service for the male. You think that maybe her bending over like that, lifting up a car, that might be the male readers fan service. All righty. That is a cheesecake ass cakes right there. Okay, that's all that is right there. All righty. Love the Frisky Cat food billboard with. Really, there was. I didn't see that. I didn't see a Frisky billboard. Oh, there it is. Yep, Frisky food. There you go.
Yeah.
That is kind of funny.
A neat little reference to the fact that that we're like she did work in advertisement as well as a model.
Mm-hmm. In the first issue, she actually mentions that that she can't get work because she's as a furry model.
Mm-hmm.
As an Avenger, you'd think that would be enough. Plus, she's got the amulet. Just go with your normal.
She can change back.
Yeah. All righty. So let's see. You put they're talking about okay, the snow is gone. Everything's cool. Everybody's doing great. We deserve a little downtime. Let's have a barbecue. And that's this panel right here. Everybody's decided, woohoo, except for Wonder Man, who is very morose and said, if we keep Hawk from scorching the steaks, it should be a blast. Wonder Man, can you make it? And he says, tonight. Oh, sure, I'll be there. See you later. And he just flies off once again, a little bit morose, and that's weird for Wonder Man. I'm so much used to him and Beast being the jokey team. Manga readers pointing out this before Simon can fly naturally. Yep. Okay, so they make their plans, and Tigress says, "Tony, come on over," and he says, "Iron Man, come over and talk." And she's talking to him as if he's Tony Stark. He goes, "I'm not Tony Stark." And he even mentions, he's not ready to show his face and all that kind of stuff. And we cut to Count Nefaria, and we get that this is what happened, where he fought Thor. He got put into a. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, he fought Thor. He fought Thor previously in number 324, and it mentions that what happened to him like when he was in that interdimensional void. When it's connected to Secret Wars until finally it led up to how he came back to the real world, like through the blank. I will say this is another factor from like comics of how they were written and drawn back then. This is another thing that is sorely missed.
Yeah, backstory kits.
Yeah, backstory, and a summary, of how each of these characters, like where they were and where they're at now.
Yeah, that's what this is. It goes from him to this is what happened last issue. There you go, and right away we get that the blank is actually scared of Graviton. The way he talks to him, the way he's mentioning things to him. Obviously, he understands clearly that Graviton is more powerful, but he says your orders have been carried. Oh, go ahead.
And intimidating.
Yes, even in that outfit. RDB calls it the man girdle. Go figure. He says your orders have been carried out. The messages have been delivered. He says that's excellent, but you seem nervous. And the blank says, we're going against the Avengers. And Graviton, I almost said Nefarious, is like, don't worry about them. I told you. I went up against them before. And blank says, yeah, and you got your head handed to you from what I hear. And Graviton doesn't like that, so he shows off his power to him, throwing him all over the place. And the guy says, hey, look, I'm just used to doing things sneaky. I'm very, very sneaky. So Graviton lets him down, gives him his power back, and boom. We cut to, once again, if you have something to say about any of these scenes, go right on ahead, Dom. I'm listening for when you, that's called the Depends outfit because he looks like he's wearing Depends. Yeah. Some outfits are better than others.
Yeah. No, I still... even during the reread, I still love the interaction between Greer and Simon because it does actually play into a major subplot in the ongoing West Coast Avengers.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to explain that ongoing conflict.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to give too much away.
Well, give it away. We'll get to it when again.
Well, let's just say there'll be a developing attraction, but more of a three-way attraction between Greer, Simon, and eventually Ant-Man Hank. However, Hank he doesn't show up in the West Coast Avengers until the ongoing series.
Alrighty, and hello to Dalton. How are you?
It's been better.
Oh well, maybe talking about some West Coast Avengers will help you out. It was your day going a little bit south?
Well, normally Thursdays are the day I help my friend the Brainstormer Pop Culture with his writing projects. And today, I guess I just rolled a succession of natural ones because every idea that came out of my mouth was apparently shit. And it annoys me when my brain doesn't work properly because my brain, and by extension my sense of style and my sense of taste, are the only parts of me worth a damn. So it put me in a bad mood. So there.
I know where you're coming from. I live with 3 ladies. My ideas have been shit for 30 years. So I understand this. I understand this. But we're talking about a fun comic. How much do you know about West Coast? Or in my assessment, was I correct? When
I know most of what I know via osmosis more than anything. I've never endeavored to learn anything particular about them.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I told him that I sent you an invite because, you know, if Dom didn't show up, and I told him
because apparently we're interchangeable now.
Well, yeah, it's Daltonic, basically.
If he can't find the nearest Dominic or he can't find the nearest Dalton, he'll reach for the other one and insert them into the same slot.
To me, you guys are Domton right there. So yeah. Alrighty, D&D. There you are. Jackson Raykirk calls it. Alrighty, so let's move on. First of all, I really did appreciate this scene.
Yeah, me too.
This is what I'm talking about. This miniseries. We've got Graviton, we've got the Blank. Wonder Man's angry that the Blank has escaped, and yet still they take they take what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They take 2.5 pages, 3.5 pages of characterization. They take time. This is, you can tell right away, this book is in for the long haul. They want you to know these people. Now, more than likely at that time, you've been reading some sort of Avengers and you know who these people are. But that, like I said, Stan Lee's quote was, "Yeah, every comic book is somebody's first comic. Let's get to know them." And I like this. You get the history of Wonder Man. You get a connection between Wonder Man and Tigra. You get that they are friends, and as you say, that's setting up for them to be maybe a little bit more friends. And you get his motivation.
A love triangle.
That's going to come up with the Beast.
Well, no, it's with another Hank Pym.
Hank Pym.
Actually, it plays a major subplot, like in the ongoing West Coast Avengers series. Another aspect of the miniseries that what people can appreciate is at first we get an overview of Graviton, like who he is and where he's been. And like we get the flip side, like on the heroes, in this case Simon.
Yep. And we learned that Tigra has an amulet that allows her the illusion of looking like herself.
Yeah, her original self, like as the cat before she became Tigra.
All right. And it says here, there were a hidden race that evolved from cats. They transformed me into Tigra in order to save my life. They're all gone now, all of them. It's been over a year. And I like this. Remind us to tell you about that sometimes. Marvel was filled with that kind of crap. Did they tell you all about everything that they promised to tell you? No, but it was great to know that maybe sometime. Chris Claremont said he did this all the time and sometimes forgot stories. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'll never get around to that. You know, that kind of stuff. By the way,
periodic reminder, authors out there, revisit your own continuity sometimes so you don't screw it up.
I have a feeling he's telling somebody.
No, he's just telling it. What Dalton was doing essentially, giving them telling most of today's quote unquote creators, hey, take notes from the old masters.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: this stuff is not that like this premise of leaving notes for yourself to make sure you keep the continuity in line later is not a high-end idea. It should be basic. It should be the norm but we live in an exceptionally shit age for storytelling, and so things that should be a duh are now not even on most people's radar.
All righty. Going forward with the story, they're talking, and Tiger says, I know somebody who may be able to fill us in on the blank. Filling in the blank. Get it? Get it? And so they go to one of her informants and find out that he was knocked around a little bit. She announces, hey, we're members of the Avengers. And that's when we find out that the Shroud is also one of these people that she went to talk to. And oh goodness, I forgot about this part. The other gangs in the LA believe me to be a crime lord. I forgot what happened here. I just read it. Oh yeah, they decide to spoil a party here. They go. He tells them that they know where the blank is and that they're going to go in because he apparently is now a big crime boss. And so they break into this party. Simon wearing the worst blonde wig. What is it with the 1980s in the curl? I don't remember every man having a perm. I remember a lot of feathered hair. I don't remember perms being everywhere.
Well,
I just don't.
I remember like when I was looking into like what the 80s like were actually like, you know, going outside. That's like how they're portrayed like in movies and TVs. Well, at least like with movies and television back then, like it does like give a close enough accurate of like the fashion and culture like was at the time. So yeah, even though like this type of hairstyle like wasn't prevalent, like the wig like gets the job done. Like, you know, like as the Shroud, he is helping out the West Coast Avengers.
Maybe they used Bob Ross as the character model for some reason.
I know. Yeah, he's got Bob Ross but blonde.
Only instead of brunette, it's a blonde.
All right. So obviously he's there to be the Shroud's muscle. And when somebody comes up, he says, the boss doesn't want to talk to you, jerk. He wants to talk to your boss. And that's when the blank comes out. And Tiger's like, oh my gosh, that's the blank. And her ass cheeks are hanging out right here, by the way. Not that I noticed right away. It took me a long time to see. It took me 2 readings to see that. Let's see.
Really?
So say again.
Really? It took you 2 readings?
To see that her ass is actually hanging out. They drew her. Those are ass tops right there. It is.
No.
I didn't notice that the first time, but now I'm noticing there's ass tops hanging out of her little bikini there.
Yeah.
Right,
actually,
so,
when I was during my reread, I was like, oh yeah, like that happened.
Ass tops. Yeah. So Blank is going, so you're the Shroud, huh? Well, they call me the Blank. What can I do for you? He says, you know why I'm here. I don't like having my people beaten. He says, sorry, but with the change of management, we had to establish our credentials. He says, what credentials? But Simon's pissed he got away, so he jumps. When Shroud says, how high? Except for he's caught in the air. And Shroud realizes he can't move. Tiger jumps in to attack the Shroud, but that's when we see Graviton. Bum, bum, bum. MARANYA saying worst disguise for Simon ever. Not only is the obviously fake wig, blonde wig, obvious, he's freaking wearing his red costume boots.
Yeah, that was my reaction. Like, oh, dude, come on. Why didn't you change out of your boots? I was like, you're going to make it more obvious that you're Wonder Man disguise.
Glenn just says, it took me 2 readings to notice her ass cheeks. Excellent affirmation from a married man. That's right. I only have eyes for my wife and apparently cat women. So, yeah, everybody goes after Graviton. Wonder Man is sent through the floor, and everybody else is sent spinning, which is basically, that's the cover right there. That's another thing. I know MARANYA mentions how she likes this kind of thing where like a cover is basically a panel out of the book. And we see the Shroud try to confuse him, but he just gravities everybody up against the wall. Simon tries to make a stop for him. And we get the blank crying for mercy. Help me, Obi-Wan. And Graviton says, yeah, no, I'm throwing you all out the window. And he does. All the while, the rest of them are barbecuing. There you go. And we see Graviton pushing Simon to the pool. And that concludes the third issue. I dig it. You know, it's got a good amount of action. I do notice, by the way, in this particular issue, this is when the action begins to ramp. This is when it stops being like they do have a good amount of character, but right when it's time to go to the action, it is this issue.
Okay, the setup's finished. Now we can get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what ends up happening at book 4. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink because.
Don't you mean book 3? We haven't
that was
covered book 4 yet.
Yeah, that was book 3. Now we're getting to book 4.
It's all good, man.
Yeah. So Dalton, go read for next week. The homework is read a 4-issue miniseries from the 1980s called Wild Dog. It is absolutely nothing you would read otherwise, but at least then you'll know what we're talking about next week.
And where in the name of sanity do you expect me to get that extremely niche miniseries?
Read comics online is where
Yes.
I don't do digital comics very often at all, unless I am flying the old Jolly Roger of a book that should not belong on my shelf.
I don't know if this is counted as that because basically it's just reading. I mean, it's there. We're looking, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's hit this last issue here, as basically the story is told through this panel right here. I mean, it is. I think I might change this to the thumbnail. That is really cool. I like that. Good cover. All righty. So basically, we see Tiger saving the shroud. And have I not shared it?
Screen, man.
That would be a smart thing to do. I don't do smart things. How long have you known me? Okay. All righty. Here we go. Yeah, okay, so I talked about the cover while y'all didn't see it, but I said this would be a great thumbnail, this part of the cover right here.
Yeah, and it helps sell you the book.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool, and it tells the story. I mean, this is a panel out of the book, because you'll see they fight while basically Simon is in the pool. So we see Tigra, she's saving Shroud, and she goes, oh, go ahead.
No, I'll just say like, yeah, Simon's in the pool while Greer swims back up with the Shroud in tow.
All righty. And we get the as it happened in the last issue. And then we rejoin the Shroud, and Tigra is there. She's trying to save him. Iron Man comes and gets him. And it's basically, okay, we need a plan. They made the first move. We need to go and get them. And Hawkeye's like, hold on, we got to make a plan, because he tells them basically about the first time they battle Graviton, and he's like, you should know, you were there. And this is when we see Iron Man take off his helmet, reveal that he's James Rhodes. All right, not John Stewart. And
don't let the face fool you.
Say again?
Don't let the face fool you.
Right. And basically, he goes, wait a second, we got an amateur Iron Man? And he goes, whoa. I helped you out in Secret Wars. And Hawkeye's like, that was you? And then he's like, okay. And then he remembers when he was just as hot-headed and all that kind of stuff. Say again?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought I heard somebody say something there. Okay. And they settle everything, and boom, it's time to act. And we cut to Graviton's bar lair, apparently. And the people, I guess these are lackeys, or it's just, I don't know why he's got all these people hanging around, but they're really nervous because, well, he is who he is. And
they're just cooperating out of fear.
Yep. And in this
The henchmen need to unionize.
I know, right?
Right.
And at this party, we get Madame Mask coming in saying she wants to talk to Graviton. And, you know, we get a little bit right here. I've heard about this Madame Mask boss. She's head of one of the Magia. How do you pronounce that?
Magia.
Okay, because I get a lot of flack for how I pronounce things here. And so he's like, okay, we'll meet Madame Mask. And they go ahead and she mentions the Avengers, and he starts losing it. And he says, forgive me for laughing. I was not laughing at you. It's just that I've dealt with some of these Avengers, and we find out that he's been holding Wonder Man under the water in his pool. That is a very creepy sight.
Real, right?
And that is just one of those where it's like, okay,
it's still unsettling after all these years.
Maybe Graviton is doing a timeshare thing with the hideout, because I don't know why he of all people would have a water feature in his hideout, but maybe the henchmen are also on timeshare.
Yeah, but why an entourage? That's the weird thing to me. Why would Graviton have like, oh, come on in, the bar's open, get whatever you want, that's cool. You know, why would he have that?
Because he has so much gravitas that people follow him around. But I see
gravitas. The bum bum. There you go. All righty. So there, we find out he's got Wonder Man in the pool. He's been like that for hours, but I think I'll keep him down there for at least until after dawn. It's rumored that Wonder Man, came back from the dead once, and I don't intend to allow him a second resurrection. And then he's like, wait, what's up with your bodyguard? Why is he being scared and all that? And so Madame Mask slaps the shit out of him. He says, I've got a thing about drowning. And then boom, Iron Man comes in. Those are repulsor rays. And we see him fly in here. And this is where the battle begins. I mean, this is, you got to dig on this kind of thing, because first of all, they don't weaken Graviton right away. He's still in his arrogant stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he knows that he's more powerful, but we find than anybody else. But we find out that the Avengers have been stashed away all over the place. That they've been in this party. It's a party, and he has his groupies.
And the bartender
it's my happening, and it
mocking.
freaks me out. Go on ahead, Dalton.
He did it again.
Yes, he did.
Go ahead, Dominic. Sorry.
well, as a follow-up, yeah, like not only were the members of the West Coast Avengers staff themselves like in Graviton's like little lair and party, like one of the bartenders turned out to be Bobby Mockingbird.
Yep, and that is going to be very important for the future. All righty, so we see Graviton knock Iron Man down. He says, this is for your foe, Madam. And his armor may be miracle of technology, but it is powerless against intensified gravity. Bum, bum, bum. We get Bobby saying, okay, Hawkeye, we're putting phase 2 of our plan into motion. I guess Iron Man's armor changes his voice unless Tony and Rhodes sound identical. That's always weird.
I mean, considering this is like this takes place like after Secret Wars as well as Demon in the Bottle, like it would make sense like for when Rhodey was taking Tony's place as Iron Man, like he would have like a voice changer which allow him to sound like Tony.
Or Tony is just so drunk it's shifted his voice down several octaves.
Okay, Iron Man's here. This is okay.
and to answer like Mariah's question, like regarding the continuity, like how did she hire a costume? Her bare legs are shown in a previous panel. which you can like in chalk up as a coloring error, or like otherwise that you can like hand wave it as like she changed her costume to another variant where it covers her legs instead of the full on like unitard.
Well, she does have water phobia, so maybe she updated her costume accordingly, so she doesn't get wet.
Maybe it's rolled up under the skirt, but I think it was just a mistake.
Yeah, a coloring error which has happened before.
Yep.
But it's always better to look for in-universe explanations than out-of-universe ones. So
yes.
So this something's wrong. Feel lightheaded. Must shake it. Mustn't lose control. Says Graviton, and I love this. We see over a few pages Wonder Man. You know, he's still down there, but he grabs onto the pool as Graviton is fighting the rest of the Avengers. And they're doing a good job. They're not letting him let up. They are bouncing. He's not getting any time, but he's not going down easily as you see him throw everybody around. But I love this. Do you know what this reminds me of? Doom. Yeah. But what we're seeing is we're treated to one panel a page of Wonder Man just. Okay, you know this shit's going, and I guess they've got him pegged. This is their powerhouse. Wonder Man's their powerhouse. So Graviton's doing his best. He's holding him off. He says, "You idiot! You'll let him distract you from the Iron Man. He's a real threat." And Iron Man's even thinking, "Now I'm talking through my head. Even with my power at peak intensity, I just barely dented his shield." We find out that the Hawkeye that was riding on his scooter up here that was thrown off was actually a dummy. Yeah, that the bodyguard, the Madam Mask,
taking the place of the original Lewis, was like Madam Mask's bodyguard, and disguised himself as him.
And then we get the final panels. Wonder Man's working his ass off to fight against Graviton until kaboom! I love this panel, man. I mean, what a buildup. You don't take away all of the words. I mentioned this earlier. Take away all of the words, and you see that this 3 panels right here tell the story that end in a holy shit moment. It's a great page. It really is. And so we see him once again. He crawls up and he knocks the bad guy on his ass. And at this point, it's where Graviton is starting to feel things, and he realizes, wait a second, I've been drugged. So let's see. Madam Mask runs away, and he just realizes he's in deep shit. I love this bit too, because right now, and by the way, once again, please, Dom, jump in if you need to. But I like this part because Iron Man is there to fight him, and he's got himself wired up to this electrical power plant thing. Yeah. But it actually shows that he's putting so much power through it that it's shorting out.
Mm-hmm.
I think modern day, they went back to the golden age. Everybody's so OP. You know, the mutants don't get tired after using their powers like they used to. And Tony Stark now just thinks it, and, you know, he's got every power of all time. You'd have to check out current Moon Knight. Oh, what is Tyra wearing a bikini in 2025 or a NASCAR outfit?
That's funny. Well, to answer that question, like, she is wearing a variant of her original traditional outfit, but it's more of a gym outfit than anything.
All right. So let's see. Woo! The armor's insulation spared me from anything more than a mild shock, but it'll take a few seconds to get any of its system functioning again. If Grav gets on his feet before I do, and we see Madam Mask come in, and it says, "Graviton, are you all right?" And he says, "Yeah, a little bruised, but otherwise I'm fine." He says, "That's all I needed to know." We find out that Madam Mask is actually Tigra. And she starts going after him. He's scared at this point. And I think this is one of the cool things about him. This is you have a person, I mentioned this before, you have a person who is Omega level threat, but because he can't control his powers because of who he is, when the veneer is kind of knocked out of him, the arrogance, it falls away. And he's
when he realizes, oh wait, I'm not invulnerable. Crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we see Wonder Man fly in, and everybody's going after the shield. And they figure, okay, can't get to him. Let's get the tranquilizer arrows in there. They gas him up. And that plus the drugs he was given, he falls. Boom. And he's taken away by what looks like the Mexican Rangers. I don't know if that was the LA County police uniform back in the day, but it looks like they're about to go to a Mexican restaurant to play their mariachi music.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, I mean, on one hand, like it could be the federales. On the other hand, it could have been like the LAPD. But what we do know for certain is, well, Graviton's like reign of terror like has been, well, it's over
For this particular set of issues.
For now.
Yeah.
Of course. For now.
All right. And then we get a normal closeout. Once again, it's just them talking and then enjoying each other's company. We get a call on the Teen Trouble alert. By the way, I'm saying this because if you guys ever watched the Super Friends, there was like an army general or something that would come, Super Friends, we have a problem. And then at the end, it would be, good job, Super Friends. That's this guy. That's the vision for this book. That he's right now, he's saying, you know what? Good job. I knew you could do it. You condescending son of a bitch. I was Avenger longer than you. That should be Hawkeye's dialogue in this. You condescending son of a bitch. But yeah, he basically says good job, and they're like, oh my gosh, we are a real team. Once an Avenger, always an Avenger. And it says the saga West Coast is just beginning for their further venture, see Avengers 250. And of course, later they would get their own #1 for the ongoing series. And as they say, that is how history was made. Bravo to Hawkeye for unmasking to eat. He wore his mask while manning the barbecue. I know, right? Just chill out. You're a team now. Chill out. Where your
sounds like the base you're in, and like nobody's gonna notice your real identity.
Yeah, but there you go. Okay, Dalton, I'm going to talk to you because I know this isn't one that you've read before. You just went through a little bit. Still haven't read it, but was told it with some commentary. As somebody who is only Mystic Heroes, what do you think of what you have seen?
Graviton's an idiot for not just pressurizing Wonder Man a la like the bottom of the ocean. This is the thing. This is why I think the layer he was using was a rental layer, because there is no need for Graviton of all characters to have a water feature in their layer, because if he needs to put someone under water pressure, he can just go, now you're under the like deepest part of the ocean's pressure because I'm Graviton, goddammit.
Yeah, but everybody likes a pool, especially if you live in a hot clime. Yeah, I know that for a fact. Bravo. Oh, I already read that one. How about you, Dom? This is how long ago was it that you read this book?
Oh man, it was between the 2000s and the 2010s.
I think mine was the 1980s. In all honesty, I read this. I loved it, but it's always something new. I read the ongoing series. I read the next thing. When I reread this, I was thinking about, I do not remember when I read this last. So the good thing about it was brand new again. That's one great thing about going to read these back issues that maybe you haven't read in a long time. But yeah, this was a really fun story.
Like how comic books were back then.
Yeah, this is a really fun story, and it's something I'm interested. And I am very happy that we're kind of revitalizing this that we used to do.
Yeah,
In the past, we did the Hawkeye miniseries. Oh, hold on. Like I said, I can Breen this one, not brain it, but Breen it, where we're just looking at all of the cool stuff.
Austin, my objection was mostly, why would someone with gravity powers waste money on a water feature?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
When he can replicate all the like battle uses for water with, you know, gravity manipulation, because that's his thing.
We've done this one already. I love this series, by the way. The crazy 80s, a guy who throws pool balls, right there. It's but yeah, this spun the West Coast Avengers, and it's such a fun book. I had so much fun reading this. It's kind of when you're used to reading a lot of the modern stuff, and it's much darker and it's much I don't know. It tries to be more than a comic book. We went through. I forgot who it was. Bob Layton or somebody wrote an article about how modern day comics aren't written for comics; they're written for movies.
Bob Layton talked about that. Jim Shooter, also Sal Buscema.
It was Sal Buscema.
Yeah.
There's the other half of the problem that modern day comic writers are used to writing novels, and so the imagery almost becomes at best redundant, at worst counterproductive, because they want to put the like whole paragraph worth of relevant information in there instead of just having the artist draw it.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I want to do this every Thursday if we can. If we can't, if we could get together and pre-record, so we make sure there's something here on Thursdays. And I thought it might be cool if we went round robin, made some interest. You know, what would we like to do? What would we like to see in the future? There are a couple of stories. I just reread Brainiac. It's a Superman story from Jeff Johns.
Hey, nice.
Incredible. I would love to talk about that. Wild Dog is going to be the next one. Dalton, if you do join us, feel free to mention titles and such. But obviously, we're doing.
Of course, bring in Eric and MARANYA. See,
I would love to.
If you want to take part and go back Thursday again.
Okay, yeah. Everybody who wants to talk about it is welcome to talk about it. If we do that, if we have a larger cast talking about it, we'll have to go round robin as well, so we're not talking over everybody like I was with you. I would like to work that out. It's a little flaw in the cloth that we'll figure out. An independent comic that you might not have heard of. I was talking about books I haven't read in a long time. I have this on my shelf. I don't know if you guys have ever read Oz by Caliber Press.
Nice. I love Oz.
This is something, it's one of those that would be kind of cool to bring to other people and talk about, that I know for a fact there is a lot of even our audience who has not read this. And this is one of the best independent comic books of all time.
I agree.
I stand by that. But
respectful to the original Oz series by Baum.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. But Dalton, if you do want to join us for this on a regular basis, this was picked by West Coast Avengers was picked by Dom. I'm picking Wild Dog for next week. Find it on whatever site you have to throw that Jolly Roger up for, and join us for next week, and then your pick. We'll go. We'll make sure everybody gets their shot, but don't say, okay, why The Last Man 1 through 75. It'll have to be 1 to 4, 5, 6 issues. But yes,
a storyline.
Yeah, because otherwise we're here for a long time, even if we have individual issues. Also, I've been doing this recently. Go on over to Ko-Fi, guys. Drop a $5 in the tip jar. Tell us what you guys would like. We can add on at the end of the month, or we can add on a viewer choice. There you go. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed our little walkthrough of West Coast Avengers. I hope you enjoyed it, Dom, even though I did most of the talking. I hope you still had fun, Dalton.
Even though that happened, like I had a blast. Like going back to Throwback Thursday.
All righty. And next week is going to be Wild Dog. So everybody check that out so you have something to talk about. It is a fun miniseries. It is a miniseries about a anti-hero with a bunch of guns handing out Republican justice. That's what that book is all about. All righty. So check that out. And as always, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe. Go on over to Ko-Fi if you don't mind. Drop $1 in the till. Thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
See you all later.
Cheers, guys.